How you doing, everyone? Let's bust out another rifle that will be impossible to get in the camera frame. This is a Schmidt Rubin model 9811. It started its life as a Schmidt Rubin model 1898. Was converted sometime around 1911, a little after 1911, to bring it up to the specs for their redesigned Schmidt Rubin 1911. I guess they loved these 1898 so much they didn't want to let them go, and they figured out ways to just do some slight modifications to basically make them 1911s. Mainly the magazine and magazine well were changed, the trigger guard, the bolt, and the barrel with the sights. The integrated sights are on the barrel. So you see these, in the gun store. The easy way to tell the 9811s, the converted ones, is by this grafted on piece right here. Of course, these things are so old they could have gone through changes in furniture, in which case, this could, a stock like this could conceivably be on an actual 1911, or a 9811 could be sporting the original 1911 wood, in which case it wouldn't have this, but this is a good sign that you're picking up a 9811 just by this grafted piece that you see on there. These things are incredibly accurate and incredibly fun to shoot, and one cool thing about them is that the military surplus ammo made by the Swiss is readily available. The GP11 round still out there. You could go on a number of online ammunition sellers, still have it around. I'll show you the ammo later on. Let's just take a little bit of look at the rifle. We have a 6-round detachable box magazine, pretty advanced for 1901. And of course, the famous thing about these are the straight pull action, where you just pull straight back, push straight forward. There's no need to turn this bolt. There's a camming action here to the bolt itself, where just by pushing it forward and back, it turns on its own to lock, and it has just regular conventional. Here, we'll pull the bolt out. It has regular conventional locking lugs that you see up here. Pretty big and hefty and strong. This bolt in general is pretty hefty. This thing is pretty strong. And what's interesting is that, the stuff this old was actually just hand machined. I mean, it's like you couldn't really mass produce or stamp out parts. I mean, around this time, everything was just handmade, hand-tooled, so that's a pretty cool aspect of it. And the simplicity of this rifle is also awesome, too. The bolt is completely disassembled. You could disassemble it completely without any tools at all. And strong stuff, this forged steel receiver here. It's a pretty hefty rifle, pretty solid and strong. And I really enjoy shooting it. It's incredibly accurate. And like I said, for 1901, it's pretty advanced, and I was really amazed at how smooth the action feels and how well it feeds. But it's pretty unique, it doesn't do anything quite like any other rifle. Even the way it ejects the brass back up and over your head is pretty interesting. I actually picked this up for a pretty good price because I have a non-original butt plate on here. Somebody had either cut this flat maybe to change the length of pull, but I've seen these original ones. This looks like this is the basically the amount of wood you'd have from the rear swivel to the end. I'm thinking if I bought an original butt plate, that it wouldn't be too hard to do a little sanding or relief on the wood here to get it to fit, but haven't really got to that yet. But if it was allowed me to get the rifle for a few $100 less than what it would normally cost, which they're not expensive to begin with, so I got a really good deal on it because of that. So, you know, so the butt plate isn't original. But let's, here, we'll get into the ammo. Show you the, this GP11 round that you can get surplus here. Show some of the accessories and stuff that I have. The GP11 ammo comes in a battle pack that looks like this. They're about, if you pay anywhere, I guess, from about $250 to $300. Now here it is, the fall, winter of 2013, and that's what I'm paying for these things. There's 480 rounds in there. You basically have 8 of these guys in there, which are like these wax papered kind of sealed bricks that you could probably submerge in water without getting the ammo wet. So that's good, like for storage. It's just kept well all these years, you know. And I have, I had acquired 2 of these battle packs. One of them, the date is 1992. And here's the round. They're Cupro nickel bullets with Berdan prime cases, non-corrosive. So someone told me once if it's Berdan primed, it would have to be corrosive, but apparently not. I think from what I'm reading, the Swiss had some issues with corrosive powders, like really messing up their guns in the, you know, late 1800s. So they decided to go to a non-corrosive primer, and from everywhere I read, they say this stuff is non-corrosive, so I guess it is possible. So with this stuff, you don't have to really worry about corrosive primers. However, you're not really going to be able to reload this stuff, you know. But I guess what really makes them special is this Cupro nickel bullet anyway. And this is almost like a match quality ammo. This stuff really is awesome. So the 1992 batch, they come in these, inside those bricks I showed you, come these boxes of 10. And the 1992 ones, they look like this. These are, from what I'm reading, basically made more for their more modern, the semi-automatic rifle that they used later on after these Schmidt Rubins. The K31 was retired, which was a SIG. I forgot the exact model number of it, but it's it was a fully automatic or select fire SIG that would be able to fire a fully automatic or semi-automatic. But the older ammos, this is, I have another batch that's older. 1981 is the date on this. And these were more for the Schmidt Rubin, from what I'm reading. They actually have a ring, a paraffin wax ring around where the bullet seats to the neck of the case. You could see it there. And supposedly that wax was there because the Schmidt Rubin would need a little bit of assistance with being sure that the neck of the case didn't expand and get stuck inside the chamber. Something about the way the straight bolt works. It's not really like a more conventional bolt action rifle. When you would lift the bolt, it would kind of twist the round as it pulled back a little bit. So by the time you got to the point where you were pulling the bolt backwards, just the lifting of it alone would be enough to kind of, you'd have enough torque, enough leverage to be able to break that stickiness between the expanded case and the combustion, the chamber when the round fired. But apparently with the straight bolt, it's a little different. That you don't really have that same kind of torque. You're just kind of pulling back, and the twisting motion of the camming inside the bolt that turns it wouldn't really be enough torque to kind of break that loose. They were having some problems where the rounds would get stuck. And I'm assuming those problems were really mostly when the barrel was brand new, you know, when the tolerances were closest, because I've fired both types of ammo out of mine, and I've never had anything even feel remotely like that a case was sticking. It always just ejected smoothly. But of course, the thing is, you know, well over 100 years old, and there's a good chance that there's enough wear, you know, enough, you know, the head spacing to make that not be a problem, no matter what ammo you used. But I'm assuming when they were brand new, Without that wax, I think they were having a little problems with them. They're being a little hard to eject. So it's kind of cool to have ended up. I mean, I just bought it, just surplus online. They could have sent me anything, and it's just kind of cool to have gotten a batch of each to actually see what the rounds look like. A couple of more accessories. Well, here, we'll poke a little bit closer into the rifle, give you a closer look from forward to back at what's going on here. The crown is interesting in the fact that it's actually concave instead of convex. Instead of a bulging outwards kind of crown, it's more like a funnel type crown. I originally looked at it and thought that possibly it was a counterboard, and then realized that no, that's just how they did it. They kind of made it like a more funnel look to it. Very conventional front sight. You could see that brass ring down there by the wood, where the wood contacts the barrel. That's would show you that it's full floated, which means the barrel sits inside the wood without it actually touching it anywhere. It's kind of held right here and held right here, and in between, the wood even kind of it's got that like kind of rattly hollow sound to it because it's not really touching the barrel at all, which is something that increases its accuracy, and that the swelling or contracting, constricting of the wood doesn't touch on the barrel to pull it or twist it in any which way. The barrel's just kind of left alone to just hang in suspension here inside the stock of the gun to make it very consistent. So when it heats up, or if it's cold, or any other conditions, it's just always going to kind of remain true. Has these interesting barrel bands that actually have a hinge on them. You can see it here. There's actually just a hinge, so you undo the screw here, and it actually just opens up, so you don't have to deal with like those Mosin ones where you kind of slide them off and you're always scratching up the wood. These are kind of interesting in the fact that they just kind of open up. Of course, this is a Swedish sling I have on here, so don't anybody give me any crap over it. It's just kind of like what I had laying around. I'll see if I can get my hands on one of the Swiss ones. Your conventional sight for the times with this sliding thing to graduate here. And of course, like most of these types of rifles, they're made for shooting at hundreds of meters. They're not really made for 50 yards or 25 yards. This one, the closest that this sight can bring it to is 300 meters. So, technically, if you want to shoot point of aim with this rifle, you'd have to do it at 300 meters or more. But I got lucky in the fact that, they do sell sight blades that are higher. If you wanted to shoot more like 50 or 100 yards, you could put a higher sight blade, which would bring you more towards point of aim. I got lucky. I thought I was going to go to the range with this thing and have to aim down into the dirt at 50 yards or at 100 yards to get it on target. But it's really not that far off. Just by holding on like the bottom of the black on a conventional 100-yard target, I was able to get the groupings, dead center. So it wasn't horrible. It's not that much of an adjustment to have to make, But it's something to think about when you get these that, you're not really going to be able to adjust the elevation without some serious work. So you might want to think about looking into a higher sight blade if you are having to aim it like way down off the bottom of the target at 50 or 100 yards to hit paper. They have this interesting ring back here for the safety. By twisting it to the side, you put the safety on. Obviously, it's like a cold weather gun. Everything about it is all like made for the cold weather. You know what I mean? To be able to get a gloved hand in here, to be able to easily extract the magazine with this button on the side, this big button here on the side, so that even a gloved hand would be able to easily get it. And of course, how do you, it doesn't matter. You could be wearing big, huge, heavy mittens and still be able to get your hand around that and cycle this action, and this big, huge trigger guard, to get your finger in there. And what's interesting is that when it's when it is cocked, it has a hold open feature, by the way, when on the last round. So if you pull the bolt open and it's empty, you'd have to push the follower down to close it. But there's so much